to the Journey to Forever podcast, where we discuss the highs and lows of life and love. Join us, your hosts, Flo and
Joe,
for a weekly recalculation of our roots as we navigate the twists and turns with candid conversation, comfort food, and laughter. Welcome back, Forever Family, to episode 24 of the Journey to Forever podcast. I'm Flo, the recovering over lover, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Joe.
Yes, my handsome partner, sometimes called the overly patient prince or the man with the deep voice. On this podcast, we are focused on rewriting the tale of forever love one conversation at a time. If you love this content, then practice your commitment by subscribing or following this podcast. In today's episode, which is titled S'mores and Stories, yes, we're doing a new spin on the whole camping experience. Joe, have you ever been camping?
No, I've never been camping. That was not something basically my mother would allow me to do back then. And as I got older, it never really interested me that much because mostly I have a thing, I don't like snakes.
And you'd
So
always,
I'm not,
yeah.
That's the home in the bush. That's the home of snakes. So I'm not going there to disturb the peace. So, yeah, I'm not that. I can be outdoors during the day, but overnight, it's a no-no.
Okay. I hear you. And I share those same exact sentiments. My mother would not allow me to spend time. Like, people would go camping over Easter vacation and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh, stay home in your house. But we dive in too much into stories. What we should focus on is our first segment called What's Your Story? So, Joe, got a story to share about a class reunion you attended?
Oh, yeah. Since I've been out of school, it's been a while. We had, I believe it was a 20-year class reunion, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are that 30 age.
Okay.
Yeah, so 30-ish, yeah. So we had that reunion and everybody there, everybody was all fun, had football, drinks, and the interesting part was the old talk that came after. When you there, or when I was there, is to hear that guys had sons going to the same school.
Wow.
And their sons were like about 15 old. So do the maths. They basically had their children
Right after school.
as they left school. So I was like, but wait. Like I'm pause or I stall. So yeah, I was shocked because they had 16-year-olds, one had a 17-year-old. I was like, what is this? I was really amazed. And it was fun. It was fun. It was memorable because after all these years, I still remember it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything grand, like the whole dress up. It was just a nice little line.
Yeah.
They played football, whatever, had food, drinks, and everybody just caught up.
But that's what you want. Like rekindling the friendship, rekindling or those memories from back in the school days. Because back in the school days, you had only uniform and your lineman on the playground, the quadrangle, the football field, whatever it was.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was nice.
Okay. Nice. Glad that you got a chance to walk down memory lane with some friends.
Yeah. And it got us closer because we connected on Facebook and all these things. So we still basically now within arm's length, more or less, you could always reach out at any point in time. Yeah, it was good. So, Flo, got a story to share about losing a purse, wallet, or important piece of jewelry?
Yep, I lost my purse. very stupidly, I must say. It was a Friday afternoon after work, went to a bar to have some afternoon drinks with friends. I wasn't driving. I went over with a friend and I stupidly left my handbag in the car. I think I took like some money and stuffed it in my jean pocket or something like that, but left my purse in my handbag in the car. And somebody broke into the car while we were enjoying ourselves. I got back to the car later that night to see the door ajar and like my purse gone. The good thing was that a neighbor that knew me since I was a child was on either on patrol or the purse ended up at the station that he was at. So he was able to say, hey, I know that girl. And she brought the purse back to my mother's house. So I was thankful because I wasn't upset. Yes, if all the money in the purse was gone, that was payment for my stupidity for leaving it in the car. But I was worried about my ID and driver's permits and you know how those things could be very frustrating to go and report them stolen and then reapply and all of that. Yeah. So I was happy that I was able to recover those items. Yeah.
That really sucks. That experience could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
So Flo, what you have for us today?
Yeah, so like I said, we are doing a new twist on the whole camping experience. We earlier today we prepared some s'mores for this modified camping experience. And it was the first time that we both had s'mores.
Yes, it was the first time, first experience. Yes, it was lovely though.
Yep. And typical thing that they do around a campfire, there's no fire. We'll imagine the fire in our minds.
Yeah.
It's tell stories. So we're going to have some stories today. So this is glamping, as they say, you know. Glamping, yes. Look up the word. Glamorous camping. We camping in our living room.
What mix up these words?
Hey. I'm just a messenger.
All right.
So this story is called The Unlucky Man. And I would say woman for all our female listeners there. You know, every time I say man, just consider yourself in the story as well. Once there was a man who lived in a beautiful log cabin. He seemed to have everything but was never happy. The man believed it was because he was unlucky, but in fact it was because he was bored. One day he had had enough and he went to a very old and wise woman to find out why he was not lucky. The old and wise woman thought about it and told him he must visit God and ask him that question. Where do I find God? The man asked. Travel to the west until you reach the end of the world and there you will find God, said the old woman. So the man set off to find God and ask why he was not lucky. He walked for a day, he walked for a week, he walked for a month, and he even walked for a year until he came to a clearing which was surrounded by wolves. On one side were these strong and vicious-looking wolves. On the other was a small, scrawny wolf. The man decided to walk towards the scrawny wolf. As he passed, the wolf asked, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to visit God and ask him why I have no luck," answered the man. "Interesting. If you find him, can you please ask him why I am not as strong and as vicious as my brothers?" asked the wolf. "Of course," the man answered, and he walked off. He walked for a day, he walked for a week, he walked for a month, he walked for a year until he got to a beautiful forest. The trees were vast and stretched far up into the sky, but in a small clearing was a short, leafless tree with wimpy branches. As the man walked by, the tree called out, "Excuse me, where are you going?" "I am going to visit God and ask him why I have no luck." Fascinating. If you find God, can you ask him why I am not as tall and strong as my brothers? The tree asked. Of course, answered the man, and he walked off. He walked for a day, he walked for a week, he walked for a month, and he walked for a year until he came to a small blue house. Surrounding this house was a beautiful garden filled with vibrant colors and bright flowers. From inside the house came the most beautiful woman the man had ever seen. On seeing the man, the woman invited him in for dinner and to spend the night.
Yeah.
The man agreed and enjoyed a wonderful feast cooked to perfection by the woman. As they ate, the man told his story, and at the end the woman asked, "That is a lovely story. If you find God, can you ask him why I am so lonely?" "Of course I can," answered the man. Then he went to bed. The next day he set off and walked to the west. He walked for a day, he walked for a week, he walked for a month, he walked for a year until finally he reached the end of the world. There, sitting on a cloud, fishing, was God. The man called out, "Excuse me, but God, can you tell me why I have no luck?" God looked up and said, "You have all the luck you need. It's all around you. You just don't notice it. Be more observant, and you will find your luck." This made sense to the man, and he began to ask the other questions he had promised, but God just raised his hand. "There's no need to ask the questions. I already know what they are, for I know everything." God whispered the answers into the man's ear. The man thanked God and began to walk home. He arrived first at the beautiful woman's house and knocked on the door. The woman was overjoyed to see him and asked him for her answer. "God told me why you are so lonely. You must get married." "Of course, it makes sense. Will you marry me?" the woman asked the man. "I'm sorry, I cannot, for I must find my luck. But the first nice man I see, I will send back to you," answered the man. With that, he continued home until he reached the beautiful forest. The small tree saw him and asked for his answer. "The reason you are small and have no leaves is because buried beneath your roots is a chest full of gold. It is blocking you from receiving nutrients." "Of course, that makes sense. Please, some workmen left shovels over there. If you dig up the chest, you can keep the gold inside," said the tree. "I am sorry, I cannot. First, I must find my luck. But the first strong man I see, I shall send back," replied the man, and with that he continued on his way home. He reached the clearing of the wolves, and the small scrawny wolf asked him for his answer. "The reason you are small and scrawny is because you do not eat enough. You must eat the first big stupid animal you see." And the wolf did.
Hey!
What do you think, babe?
This is a hell of a story. I see it as being a story about tunnel vision.
Yes.
Because he got so focused on himself and finding luck that he bypassed all other signs, may it be lucky signs, warning signs. He just blew past it because all he was looking for is his luck. He had tunnel vision.
Okay. I agree tunnel vision is involved. What I also think is that he wasn't listening. Because God told him. God gave him the answer.
But he already had all the luck.
Yes.
Right around him.
It's right in front of him. And for me, the first thing that jumped out at me when I read the story the first time was, we always think that something out there is better than what we have right in front of us.
Yeah.
That whole grass is greener syndrome. You always think the grass is green on the other side. And the reason why I wanted to bring this story up is because I think sometimes it's pretty much applicable to relationships. Like, we always, as humans, we tend to remember the negative more easily than the positive.
Yeah.
Right? And we know, we've heard many stories of prominent couples over the last year and plus, since we've been in the pandemic, that have just
dissolved.
Yes, right? And there are other studies too that people point to that divorces are up and that sort of thing. And people constantly saying, oh my God, I just want to get out because, I spending all this time with my significant other and it's like, I just want time alone. And I agree, time alone is necessary. That is necessary because you and I take time alone. We might go in different rooms in the house because we're trying to be safe during this pandemic, right? But for me, the bigger message is sometimes you always want something outside when what is actually going to bring you the happiness is right in front of you.
Usually it is. You never really have to seek your happiness. The happiness for most times, if you really check, comes to you. Going looking for it is okay. I'll put it like this. I have this story I've always heard. People say, never go and find God. Because God isn't lost.
Okay.
So, why it's up to you now to realize that God is here. God is within me. Right? So you don't need to go look for it. Just like your happiness.
Yeah, or there's evidence of Him all around. Yeah.
So, like your happiness now, it's up to you just to change certain dynamics in your life to be happy. And usually, it's like, how would I put it? Like a mudslide. Once you put one thing in order, usually everything else comes flowing behind it.
Yeah.
So probably you just have to change your mindset.
That's what it is.
Probably you need to get rid of certain people that in your life.
That influence you.
Yes, that, not as they would put the bad company.
Right.
Change the dynamics, or if probably you were the bad influence on others and they were probably trying to lead you the other way, but being stubborn, you choose to ignore the wise words these people would have been telling you. So first, I believe you need to change your mindset.
Yeah. I say seek wisdom. And wisdom could, if you're a believer, it could come from the Bible, or if there's something specific, and in this instance we're talking about relationships, then talk to people who've been down that road. Like, meaning people who have a successful relationship for a very long time, and seek wisdom and advice from them. But I always think sometimes you just need to pause, like we did last episode. Just pause and pay attention to what is right around you.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, what is happening for me instead of what is happening to me.
Yeah, get your mind right.
Yep. Because I would admit, as much as this pandemic has been frustrating at times, hey, listen, I really wish we could have take this camp to the beach. Meaning, pitch our tent in the middle of the day. We're not going in the night because we don't want Joe to freak out thinking that snakes will come looking for him, right? But we pitch our tent during the day and enjoy that. But we can't. Because why? Because people just continue to flout regulations and do whatever they want. So the pandemic continues to spread. So, but I appreciate the blessing of being cooped up inside, because you know why? It causes us to be exactly in doing fun things together, and we've mentioned we both work that, and our jobs could be pretty hectic. So if this pandemic wasn't around, which forced us to spend more time indoors, we could have literally been going about our business like ships in the night all the time and not even say, hey, like me telling Joe always wanted to do this podcast and let's do it.
At this point in time, you can't go on a date.
outside. No,
You
we
can't
can't.
go on a date. Literally. You know, you can't do anything. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you cannot be just on the street doing nothing. This is one time in life you can't get arrested for loitering.
Yeah, at least here in Trinidad, because we have a curfew in effect.
Yeah.
So,
Due to, in our local parlance, people would jack A in the scene. You understand? Jack A in. You fill in whatever comes after jack. It starts with a E.
yes, they were
And
messing
it ends
things
with
up.
ING. Yes.
They were messing things up.
Yes. So now we are paying for that.
Yeah.
For the selfishness of others.
I know. And, you know, that selfishness means that a lot of people can't earn a living, or as we say, eat our food.
Basically.
Right. So you know why I go to eat our food, right?
Oh yeah, of course, because we love to eat.
Of course.
And you know what? When we love to eat, we like to get things to eat.
Yes, Joe's absolute favorite segment of this podcast.
Oh yeah. So this weekend was a good weekend for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we will talk about the two things we had. We made pizza this weekend.
Not the first time, but
Not the first time.
but this time it was real good, boy.
This one was special. I have no idea what it was, but this was one of the greatest pizzas I've ever tasted.
I need the dough with my left hand, Joe.
That's alright. Tobago. She did it Tobago style, folks, with the left hand. So you know I ain't going nowhere. Yes, folks, that pizza was lovely. It was not vegetarian. A little bacon, you know, a little oink.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was nice. Different cheeses. It probably was the combination.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea, but the toppings were green peppers, onions, tomatoes, and, well, bacon and pineapple. Yes, folks, we put pineapple on pizza. It's a ongoing argument around the world, but this is my view thing.
Okay.
Put whatever you enjoy on your pizza.
I agree.
Yes. Nobody else has to eat it.
As long as you could eat it.
You happy? So you put whatever you want. And you make yourself happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong. If you want that, you get that. If somebody else wants something else, let them get their own. So, yeah. So again, we also had dessert today, which was s'mores as we started out. And our s'mores, as we are indoors, was made in the microwave.
Yeah.
Simple 20 seconds in the microwave and you have s'mores. You have crackers, whichever crackers of your choice, you can decide whatever you want to have. And you have chocolate. We like Hershey's chocolate, smooth, and marshmallows. And you just put chocolate, marshmallows, put it into the microwave, 20 seconds, and there you go. Take it out, put another cracker on top of that. Ooey gooey goodness.
It was really nice.
Yes, it was beautiful, folks. Hope you're not on a diet, because I am not going to know such thing, no low fat and strange tasting things. Have something, enjoy it, because you're not going to have it every day. It's a special occasion, you know, just to feel good, make you feel good. So yeah, that was our thing to eat segment for today.
All right.
All right.
Well, as usual, before we hit the road on today's episode, we have to check our tanks. And in this instance, we're referring to our love tank.
Yeah.
So what's filled your love tank?
My love tank was filled today. Folks, I came home and had the most glorious meal. I also made her happy. I ate my veggies. Yeah. Yep. I ate my veggies because I remember her telling me that You don't eat veggies, you need to eat more veggies, you need to have your vegetables. You know, in the way women do things and how. So I remembered, so I came home today and I had my veggies. It was lovely. It was spaghetti. I believe it's something everybody loves. So yeah, that filled my love tank today.
Spaghetti bolognese.
Yes. After a hard day's work. Yeah, folks. Sunday, I was at work. Whew. That's the time we're in.
Yeah. What's filled my love tank? So, ladies, this is a bit of oversharing, but we know when that special time of the month, right? Listen, I appreciate when Joe remembers to get me something special because I'm going to be craving sweets. I don't know what it is. Around that time, the sweet craving, the sweet tooth is just act up. The sweet tooth is just act up. So imagine my surprise when I got a favorite bottle of wine. There's that ice cream. I tried to remember what else you got me. But I was like, but wait. This man thinking about me, boy. Hey, listen. What I would say is that shows me that one, he's paying attention, and two, he remembers. He really listens. So thank you, baby. I know I hope I wasn't too crabby, but it was nice of you to remember and surprise me with this.
It wasn't too crabby. Slight.
Oh.
Put that crab in some dumpling.
Oh, Lord.
We have more things to eat.
All right.
All right, folks.
Before we get ourselves in trouble. Thank you for listening to the Journey to Forever podcast. We would love to have you join the Forever family by connecting with us on Instagram at Journey to Forever TT and subscribing to this podcast on whatever app you're listening to this episode on. In this family, we believe that sharing is caring, so be sure to share and discuss this episode with someone you love. Until next time, remember that forever love is a journey, not a destination. And the fuel that keeps you going is communication. Till next time, bye.
Have a great one, folks. Bye.